Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you are. My name is Leticia and welcome to the channel. So here we're back to the makeup shorty. We are now talking about the next steps in your makeup. So we covered skin prep, foundation, concealer, and powder. Now we are on to bronzer and contour. And as always, do you need them? No, you need them if you feel like you need them. So for contour and bronzer, do you feel like after you apply the rest of the makeup, you are kind of flattened out? Maybe you feel like there is still like a disconnection between the color of your body and your face. Sometimes we have too light of a face and we need a little more bronzer to match better of our skin. Or maybe you feel like you want to match a little bit more your face, adjust some things that you want to conceal or enhance. That's the moment. Well, if you're not talking about concealer, obviously. And it's also not a necessary step. A lot of people don't feel like they need it. Me, most of the days, I don't actually do it. I just do it when I want a little more in my makeup. But we are here today to demystify that part of makeup that had a really bad rap in the past, which was like the orange bronzer that made everyone look like a Oompa Loompa, or the contour that is so cold that looks like you have mud on your face. Yeah, we're not doing that. Thank you very much. Stay with me then if you want to see more tips. I'm a cat again. Now I can do my makeup. First things, do you need it? As we said, no, we might not need it. Look at the mirror. Again, see how you feel. How do you feel? Do you feel like you need to bring the contours back to your face? Do you think you need to bronze it up to make you look more healthy? Then yeah, go for it. So do you need, before contour and bronzer, to do all the other steps? No, not really. You might just want to bronze it a little bit up or do a little bit of contour. In that case, you will be a little more light-handed because you don't have foundation and concealer under. So if you're too heavy-handed, it's gonna look really disconnected, but you can do it too. You pick and choose whatever makeup you're comfortable with. Another thing, skin prep is not really optional. No. Cleaning your skin, moisturizing, applying sunscreen, that should not be optional. That should be the base, the minimum to keep a healthy skin. No amount of makeup is gonna make you look good if your skin looks really bad under. It's dry, dehydrated, patchy, and weird. There's nothing really foundation can do. So treat your skin before with the skin prep, then think about makeup. I know that can sound really desolating, like, well, I'm here for the makeup, but I'm telling you the truth because I'm here telling you all of this so you won't buy a lot of things that won't serve you. Doesn't matter if you buy a full coverage foundation, concealer, and do all the contouring perfectly, super wonderful cat eyes, and then your skin it's all patchy and all that texture is being enhanced, and you look at the mirror and you feel awful. That's not really helping you now, is it? You better taking that money and spending in some skin prep and, you know, good products for your skin to keep it healthy. Then you might not even need the foundation in the end, which is great too. So we're talking about bronzer and contour, right? Right, great. The most important thing about that is the color. Basically, what distinguishes a contour from a bronzer is the type of coloring. Both of them are trying to mimic real colors on our skin. The bronzer is gonna warm it up and make it look like you've been bronzed, so you got some sun. That usually happens in the parts that are higher on your face. So if you shine light from the top, usually the nose, that part of your cheekbone, sometimes a little bit on your lips, sometimes a little bit on your forehead, those are the areas that are going to be bronze. Applying bronze in other areas, it's going to make it look weird. And bronze is usually in warm colors because that's what happens to skin when it bronzes. But also what happens when it bronzes is that if it gets warmer, it will get a little deeper, sure, but if it gets warmer, what happens with warm colors against cool colors? Warm colors are always perceived closer than the cold colors, which is cold colors are usually perceived as shadows. See, like my hand, my forward hand here has more light in it, it's in front. The other one is darker. I am here in the shadow. I look like I'm in the background. That's what happens with the volumes in your face. So the contour in the other side is mimicking the shades on your skin, on your face. So what is happening is that contour has to be colder. Colder than what? Than your skin. So bronzer is warmer than your face skin and contour is colder than your face skin. But it depends where your skin is at. So I am neutral to a little bit cold. So my contour can never be warm, not even neutral. It has to be at least a little bit neutral cold or a little colder. Otherwise it won't look in comparison actually colder. It will look like a bronzer if it's a little bit warmer. And my bronzers can't be too warm. Otherwise they will look like an Oompa Loompa face. I will look like an Oompa Loompa because anything that is a little bit warm is going to be very warm on me. The same applies for you. So you have to see what type of color, what shades you have in your skin to be able to put your bronzer and contour in relation to your own face. And as for everything else, there are many types of formulas you can find. So me, myself, I have only 2 types of formulas with me. I don't use that much bronzer and contour, so I don't need to buy many of them. So my favorite is actually in powder formula. It's not my favorite because it's powder, but because of the perfect match, at least for me, is the Kaleidos Cool and Light Charisma Contour Palette. They released this again. I don't know if they changed the formula, but there is more shades to choose from now, so I can't 100% recommend because I don't know what these shades match to the new ones, how they match. But this color scheme, it's perfect for me. You can see like this color is a little bit orange when compared to my skin. I have foundation on and concealer, just a disclaimer. And this one is clearly colder. You see, like if you put it in contrast with my face, you're gonna realize, oh yeah, this is like harmonic. It belongs to my skin, but one it's warmer, the other one's colder, and it's a perfect match for me. I also have one that is solid. It's like a balmy situation, which is the Sol New York. Great, awesome quality, very natural finish makeup. And I have here on this corner the contour and the bronzer here. So you can see this is a little warmer and this is a little colder. So the colder one is a little more pinky, this one is a little more orangey. But none of them are too cool or too warm. They can't be because I'm neutral. So if they were, they would look very out of place. And here I'm trying to put both of them like one besides the other. So you can see like the color match is actually great. They are very similar to each other. The Kaleidos contour is a little less pink, but the bronzers are very similar in color and tone, shade. Okay, so now that we know how to choose on our shades, how do we choose where to apply? So it will depend on your face shade, but also on what you want. What are the results you want? Some people might only want to contour a little bit. Maybe they are in winter, so they just want to like make their cheekbones a little more prominent and more like, you know, snatched. And some people might be in summer and they're like, oh, I want to bring the bronze back. I want to look, you know, healthy, that I've just spent a couple of hours in the sun. Or it might be, you know, the opposite. Maybe you are winter and you want to bring back the sun. Who cares? The thing is, it will depend where the natural contours lie on your face and what you want to do. Do you want to enhance them or make them different than what they are? So a lot of people will tell you that the perfect face shape is oval. And I think that's like literally BS. Like everyone has different tastes. You do whatever you feel comfortable with. Again, looking at your skin, look at your skin, look at your face at the mirror and try to figure out what do you like on yourself and what do you want to enhance and things you are not so fond of maybe, and then you go from there. Ooh, a disclaimer. See, I've been wearing this face that we applied for 2-3 hours already, and see how the oils on my skin are already making this foundation much more natural. It was much more matte when I applied it, and 2-3 hours after, the oils are already making it like blend. I did not apply anything else, no more powder than we applied together or setting. So you can see, you can still see some redness, some dark areas. Like I didn't blank out my features, but you can see that the tone is really homogeneous. So there you go. So if you have oily skin, that will probably happen to you too. So just by safety, you can go a little more matte so it will wear off better during the day. Okay, so I'm looking at my face, right? What parts of my face are naturally bronzed? Usually, for me, if I look at photos, pictures, and you know, the mirror when I'm coming back from the street, this area bronzes, my nose bronzes, my forehead bronzes, even my lip bronzes a little bit. Yeah, it's weird, but it does. So I like that. That makes me look a little healthier. I like it. So I'm going to bronze those areas. But what areas in my face have natural shade? So I'm trying to bend my face like this so you guys can see. This area has shade on me. This area here has some shade. This area has shade, and this area has shade. And then I can choose. Do I want to maintain this format? Do you want to enhance what you already have or change it? So if you have a longer face, you might want to go for horizontal lines of application. So instead of doing a diagonal, you do more like a horizontal line here. So it's kind of cutting your face there and making it look less long, a little more vertical. So ideally you would be more balanced and less long. Or the opposite, you might think think you have a too round face, and then instead of using horizontal lines, you do it very diagonally, so it pushes the eyes down, making it look more long. Some people are like, oh, I have a big forehead. So if you bronze it, you're gonna make it bigger. You have to contour it. So you actually bring shadow to it, so you make it look smaller. Same thing people do with their noses. If you shade your nose on the sides, you're gonna make it look a little longer and a little straighter. If you actually do it straight, be careful, because if you do it crooked, it's gonna look crooked. And some people shade the tip to make it look like it's more, you know, like Barbie doll kind of nose. You can also shade a little bit under your lips to make it look cooler, and shade your jawline so it can look more contoured. So those are all techniques that are going to change, enhance your face in different ways, and you have to be careful of what is the result you want and what you're doing, what techniques are you using. My tip for you is there's no one general rule for any type of face. Also, because many faces are hybrids of formats, so you're gonna be like, oh, I have an oval face, I have a square face, I have a long face. It's usually not straight in the middle. So for example, me, I have an oval face, but it can look kind of hexagonal because I do have some points, some angles, and depending on the angle that you look at, like my nose is pretty straight, it's angular. So depending on how you're looking at my face, you're perceiving it a different way, and everyone's faces are like that in different ways. So if you use a general rule, you most likely are not going to be very happy. You have to tweak it a little bit. So what is my tip? My tip is you can look at those examples, like what to do with each face shape. You most likely will have to adapt them and blend them together. So for example, technically my forehead is a good size, but if one day I'm kind of like, I don't know, it's looking too big, I can just contour it. Like technically my face is oval, but I do like it when my jaw is more angular, so I can just shade it, you know? That type of thing you're gonna understand trying. So take some days that you don't have, you know, makeup pressure, you don't have to look perfect and snatched, and try on the mirror and see what you like and what you don't. And most likely you're only gonna notice if you like it or not on real light, because looking at your mirror in the bathroom will not tell you the whole story, trust me. Different lights will give you completely different results and interpretations of what you did. Usually people are more concerned with real light because that is the less forgiving one in a sense. Like it's a beautiful light, but it's less forgiving because it will show you. It won't blur. It will show you the line. So go test there outside. Grab a mirror, grab your phone. Also cameras and mirrors, very different effects. Be careful. So if you want to apply both products, usually start with the cream, then go with the powder. Again, same thing goes like foundation and concealer. If you have dry skin, prefer creams. If you have oily skin, prefer matte powders. They will wear off better during the day. Sometimes they will look good if you're like, oh, I have dry skin and I just apply powder. Right now it looks great, but in a couple of hours it will show. Okay, so be careful with that. But also consider that your foundation and concealer, they are interacting with all the other products. That goes for bronzers and contours too. So if you have a very dewy foundation, so base, and then you apply powder, very powdery matte contour and bronzer, this area of your face will have a different texture. That means it might recede from the eye because everything else is shiny and that one is matte, so it's receding. It's like a shadow, even though the color is a little warmer. So try to think about the whole look that you want before actually, you know, acquiring the products. It's always best to try, mostly if you're a beginner, to try to stay in a range of the same kind of finishing. So try to get all products more or less in the same finish. I will go for natural because I think that, you know, looks more natural, but not just that, like usually it's easier and more forgiving because it doesn't shine too much, it doesn't mattify too much, so it's a little easier to deal with. Okay, so we're gonna start with creams. I like to start with the bronzer because I apply much more bronzer than I usually do contour, if I do contour at all. And because it's, you know, a cream like we talked before, a sponge, it's a great way to apply it. It gives it more a seamless look and finish. So I just step into the product. If you don't have practice, first step in your hand to see the kind of finish and color you're gonna get. This makeup specific, the South New York palettes, they are really forgiving. They are really moisturizing and very low pigment, so you can work with them with ease of mind. Not all makeup is like that, so the best thing you can do is tap in the back of the hand. Make sure you're not gonna ruin your whole, you know, base makeup, whatever that is, even if it's skin prep, and then you go with it in your face. So now I have some here. So again, like I said, I like applying it just where I would naturally bronze and not too much. So you usually, to have a better application, usually start where you want more product. So you're depositing most of what it is in the sponge or in the brush. And then you go tapping around, blurring them. Don't swipe them, just tap it. So it will spread, but it will spread without scraping your whole makeup and skin. So same thing in the other side. See, most of the product is in the center area. And then I just do this with the tapping motion. I'm blurring the lines, I'm blending, and it's gonna look more natural. Some people, like I just did, they come with the bronzer in this area too, because it is a part of the face that looks good bronze, or they, just want to experiment. But the thing is, if you apply it and you don't like it, you can always go back to your foundation or to concealer or even a powder and just try to blend it and tone it down. As long as you use little product, it's not gonna be a huge mess for you to fix, so it's totally doable. That's why I said go slow. Only get more product when you actually look at yourself and you need it. Don't just grab more product without thinking about it, because you will regret it. So now you look at the mirror, see if you have any harsh lines. You don't want them. They are going to give away right at the second to be like, she has makeup on. I also like to apply a little bit in my eyes and in my nose. I don't really usually apply bronzer on my forehead, but I will today to show you. So this is an area that I think you should go very slowly, because it can look pretty weird if you're not used to it and you apply too much. But it can also look very good if you do it right. See? Very natural. I don't really see any harsh lines. There's no big separation. Nothing's telling me, he has a lot of makeup on. No, it's just bringing back the light to my skin. Now for the contour, same thing, but even more carefully, honestly. As you don't want to look an Oompa Loompa with bronzer and super orange, you also don't want to look like you have mud on your face or a big stripe on your face. That does not look good in person. In camera, it actually looks kind of good if you don't go like way, deep into it. If you just do a little bit, but if you do a little bit more than you should in person, it will show up very fast. So go gently. Less is more. Remember, less is more. Tap on your skin if you have your doubts. Always better to do that. And what I will do is this area, you can feel like your bones here, right? So your bones are the highest part of your face. So if there are any shadows, it will be under them. So what you can do is press in a diagonal from under. So you do it like this. You see? I'm right under my bones, because that's where the shadow will be. And always from the half of your face to the back, don't come close. If you come close to your mouth, it will make your whole face look like it's dripped, because it will pull everything down. It will age you terribly. So here, you can even blend in the hairline, which will make it look even more seamless. And you just do a little bit here. See? It already makes a difference, but you can't really tell what's going on there. Like, you can't really point and be like, oh, she's muddy, or oh, she has a strike. No, it's just very, very seamless. For the other side, same thing. See, this is the area under my cheekbones. I apply more here in this area, close to my hair, and then just tap. And then, like always, you look at the mirror, see if you have more makeup in your side than the other, and you try to even it out. Nose contouring, very common. I don't recommend it if you want it to look natural in person. Why? Because in person, people see you from 360. And if you make two lines here, parallel, to the bridge of your nose, when you turn your face, that's what people are going to see here, a line. That's not very natural. That's not a good in-person look. You can do it very, 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 very delicately and very carefully to blend it very well. For a beginner, I think that the powder might be much more blendable than a cream in this case, but you might like the cream better. It's up to you. Try it out on yourself in your house. Another brush that I really like to apply this type of product is this one. It's from Real Techniques. It's the Expert Face Brush number 200. If you look here, it is a little bit slopey, so it's not completely symmetrical. That means that I can use this area to do this, which is great. So any brush that gives you this kind of control will make the application easier for you. So try to look for that. Real Techniques is really inexpensive. You find it at Amazon in sets, and it's really nice, very good quality and cost. Now with purple line powders, those are the ones you're looking forward to. So these three are basically a variation of, you know, different brands. So this is like, oh my god, this is like, I don't know, 20 years old. I don't even know the brand. This is a Refer 04, and this is a MAC face brush. Well, I think it's blush brush, but I don't know the number. I don't have it anymore, and I can't find it in the website. But anyways, those are the ones that you would most likely use for blush, but also bronzer, because it's, you know, it's the same area you're applying with. And this one is less slopey, but it's the same thing. You go in the side, you pick a product and you tap. The same brush you usually apply bronzer, you can apply the blush with. This is another good brush for the cream, bronzer, and also blush. It's a dual fiber, again, like the foundation, but this has a smaller area, a smaller head, and it's gonna give you more control because you don't apply to a big part, chunk of your cheeks at once, so you have more control of the area. That's also something very important to take care of. If you have a small face like I do, you need smaller brushes. If you have a brush this size, it's my whole face in one stroke. Like, this will make it look horrible. If I apply bronzer with this, it's the whole face, the whole side of my face that is gonna look bronzed. It's gonna look horrible. So be careful with that too. So I'm going in with my Kaleidos palette now, and I'm going with the bronzer. So I'm going in with the powder now to set the cream. It's not a necessary step. I'm trying to cover it all with you guys, but you can choose, pick and choose whatever you want and feel more comfortable with. If you have oily skin, it might be a good idea to, you know, set your cream products. But as you can see, this is not totally super creamy, and I didn't apply that much product. So that means it's not gonna wear horribly during the day. So I'm tapping. And then, yes, throwing product away, kinda. So you do that because you want it to get in the bristles and not fall out on your face. So you're making sure that the product is in the bristles and it's not gonna fall all over your face right at the moment when you start tapping, you know? So you do throw away a little bit of product, but it's really not that much. And then I come here in the same area where I applied the bronzer before, and I just tap. You can see it didn't add that much coverage in terms of pigment, so it's not like, wow, she's such a bronzer, but it did amp up a little bit. So that's something else too. If you're going with both products, you don't need to go all out in the cream one, because then the powder one is gonna complement and do a little more of the bronzing after. You have to think about that too. So now for the contour, I will be very careful because I don't want a super contoured look. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the bronzer. I'm gonna pick up, tap, 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 pick up, tap, 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 tap. Only on the corner, only the corner, only on the corner. With very, very, very little product of contour powder. I'm going in just doing this. Because my nose is very straight, I don't need to do a lot. I'm just going to do a little bit. I'm gonna show you how it doesn't look like there is any stripe, but if you look front first, you're gonna see there's a mild difference, okay? You can do that. Just be careful not to do it too much. And also, be careful if that's what you want to enhance in your nose, because you might not want to enhance that is, you know, long and straight. If you feel like you need to blend a little bit, grab an empty brush or a brush with a little bit of powder. Yeah, you can't tap right now because that won't help you blend, but try not to do it all over your face, just in the areas you need. Also, I'm using a little bit more of the contour and bronzer shades, otherwise they don't appear in the video, but always look at your mirror and see what's the reality, like what's going on. Is it, you know, too much? Because if it is, oh, I went too hard, too heavy-handed. Grab a sponge or your brush with the concealer and foundation. Don't have to apply more product, but just with the dirty product from early application, apply on top. Patting, do not swipe, because you already have powder on your skin. So if you do that, it's gonna be horribly matte. So just tap. Oh, still nothing. You're gonna have to apply some foundation or concealer on your hand, the back of your hand. Tap lightly, take out the excess, and go back and tap on top of it. I would even recommend to do that with powder if you already powder your cheeks, because if you come up with a lot of cream, a lot of powders are not gonna react well. Not all powders and creams fight between themselves, mostly because you're like tapping, you're not swiping, but some of them do, and you don't want to ruin your makeup. So if you applied a lot of powder already on your cheek areas or anywhere else in your face, try to not go in with a lot of cream after. That will probably hurt your lung. So that is the third video, the third part of our series finished. Now, besides the skin prep, I have primer, foundation, concealer, bronzer, and contour. And I think it looks pretty real. Like, honestly, I wouldn't use the contour very much on daily basis, but you know, I'm showing you guys. And it's pretty passable. Like, if someone passes me on the street, they might might think I'm just look healthy. You can see, it's not that much difference. Like you can't really see, oh my God, look at her face, different color. Nothing like that is happening. It's just like, she looks bronzed, she looks healthy. And that's a good look for me. I like it. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, watching, and most importantly, I hope you have an awesome day. See you in the next video. Bye.